And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Women of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling, coming to you guys live, okay? Make sure you comment down below if you have any thoughts about this video. At the end of the video, I always check the comments and respond to you then. Also, write me any questions if you like. We're going to react to a video today, and that video is called Hypergamy and Female Nature, the #1 thing women lie about. I've already watched this once, just a while ago, or today, but it's from Zander. He's a great guy, 85,000 subscribers. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about, absolutely. And but I still wanted to make a response so that you guys can understand how this channel takes things to a completely different level. Not that I'm competing with Casey, he's awesome. But just keeping it simple, there are some things that I have some thoughts on. Let's just get into the video and we'll talk about it. Here we go.
Uncle C, back in the office, and in this
and I'm sure you guys actually want to see what's going on the screen, so I'll fix that. There you go.
Video, I'm going to be discussing hypergamy and the #1 thing that most women lie about. But here's the fact. You know me from these videos. You know my channel. You know what I stand for. In no way, shape, or form am I here to blame women when it comes to your dating issues as a man. That is not what I stand for. What I stand for is taking ultimate personal responsibility and self-reflecting on each and every single hardship that you've had, iterating your offer as to why that happened, and making sure that shit does not ever happen again. Because if you can actually come at things in life with that mindset, you see, that's what's going to get women hooked. That's what's going to get women actually attracted to you, because now you're a man of order and action that actually controls your life. Now,
okay, just briefly stating to you guys, this is a video for men, okay? I know that this is not for you guys, but it's helping men to get the best possible women that they could possibly get. And he's going on about explaining about responsibility, which is great. I mean, the more men take responsibility for their crap and their issues in their lives and the issues that they cause women, the better. That's how we're going to progress towards a better world, guys. Is men taking full ownership and full responsibility. Like,
that's just a bystander making excuses. This video is totally going to shift the way that you look at every single aspect when it comes to dating and culture. And not only that, I'm coming at this perspective with giving you the most amount of value that I possibly can. So stay with me until the end, because by the time when I get to this pie chart on how to stimulate her emotions the correct way, I think your mind's going to be completely blown. Now, before we begin, there's 2 things I wanted to run by you, and 2 things only. #1, we are doing free one-to-one consults with my team for the relationship in a current on how to win her back. I highly advise you going down below and booking a call with my team to see if you're potentially a good fit for that program. Also, if you're a man struggling with his attraction, his body, because my brother Cole is running strategy session calls, and if you're a fit to work with me within that program to become full stack, he's going to actually show you the ropes as to what it takes to work with me. Now, let's actually dive in. What is the preface of hypergamy and female nature today? Well, the preface is this. I need you going into this with a non-red pill mindset.
Just briefly there. Now I can explain what hypergamy is. For those of you guys who don't understand what it is, look it up. Or my definition on it, my take on it, is women always desire to date up. Meaning that if they're with the guy, but there's a better guy that comes along, she will always choose this better guy. This is how she's wired. This is a very bad thing from the world's perspective when they look at relationships and how women simply can leave a guy out of nowhere if she suddenly becomes connected, emotionally connected with another guy that she deems to be better than the guy that she's with. Okay, so, but me personally, I think it's a fantastic thing. I think it's amazing. I think this is one of the best things about the universe if we understand it. But we got to understand it. Why is it a good thing? It's a good thing because we want the world to become a better place. We want the world to evolve. We don't want just men to remain the same. And the way that men are wired is that they're wired to improve dependent upon what women desire in mates. And women have been programmed to desire certain things that cause basically society and humankind to evolve further and further and further all of the time. If it wasn't for hypergamy, we would not be living in 2020 with all of the luxuries and all of the benefits and all of the amazing inventions that have come to pass basically in the last 200 years or 100 years. That's hypergamy. You can blame hypergamy for that one. Why? Because men have a drive to solve world problems in order for them to get the best possible women that they want. And women are wired to always switch up to the best possible man that she can be with at any given time. Is this a problem for families? Yes, it is, because of loyalty, right? Because in today's world, in the setting that we're living in right now, if women have been programmed towards hypergamy, then basically the family comes second to this. Hypergamy is part of her program. Family and loyalty that's conditional. Hypergamy is not. That's unconditional. That's something that's in there that she cannot change. And I'm going to get into a second what he's going to mention here, which is interesting. But so now you understand why hypergamy is. I think it's a fantastic thing. The whole world thinks that it's a horrible thing. But understand that this is a woman's nature. And it's great if you understand how to put it in perspective and how to create the kind of environment that allows her to be in love with her man continuously forever for the rest of his and her life. Because there's a system, there's a concept necessary in order for that to happen. Let's continue with what he says about red pill. What is the red pill? The red pill is basically you've heard about the Matrix, where basically Neo is presented with the blue pill and the red pill. And the blue pill is basically you can continue the way you're living today and with your understanding and beliefs about life, or you can take the red pill, which you now will defy the ignorance is bliss blue pill, and you'll go towards actually understanding the full truth and the full picture of what's actually going on. Okay, and this is very often spoken about in terms of understanding exactly this, hypergamy and female nature. Because, again, men look at it as a bad thing. It's a fantastic thing. So let's keep going.
Okay? If you limit yourself to ideologies in life and you don't look at things at face value as to how you can pick and choose which information applies to you and which doesn't, you're going to be really screwed, because now you're just fitting yourself in one box. And when you fit yourself into one box, guess what? That's what you become. Rigid. You become a guy who's not malleable, and you can't actually take advice in the right way to help it improve your life because you live by rules. Okay, listen, I'm going to help you out through this. Just stick with me. Number one.
What's wrong with living by rules? I'm not saying that you should be in one of those boxes he says. The only box that you should be in is moving towards what works. Truth. The definition of truth is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. Obviously, he's talking to men, but it's important for you guys to understand that rules, as long as they're few and far between, there are certain universal rules that need to be applied. Other than that, I'm good. Let's go.
The first preface we have to come into this video with is that everybody is custom. Everybody is unique. The saying all women are the same typically happens to men who think all women are the same. Okay, what does this mean? All women are not the same, and all men are not the same. All women have certain traits about them like hypergamy, or all women have certain traits about them as to what they view as attractive in a man. But the fact is this, not every woman is going to behave the exact same way as the past women you were with. Just like I'm guessing you've probably never seen another man on YouTube that carries himself like the way I do within the dating space or within helping men and coaching. I'm custom. You're custom. John's custom who's watching this. Henry's watching this video who's like, every person's custom. Everybody has their own unique traits.
So, I agree with what he's saying here. Also, at the same time, I'm reiterating what he did mention there, which is amazing, which is the fact that all women have certain traits. and characteristics that is basically them being women, okay? And that is, for example, female nature. That is hypergamy. That is something all women have, okay? Women's anatomy is the same, okay? Other than, you know, that they're unique, yes, they're special, but all women are the same. You're all the same, yes, you're still special, you're still butterflies, whatever, you know, special princess. But just like men are pretty much all the same in the sense of what they desire and their emotional needs and their drives in life, even though people get this confused over time when men become women and women become men. But men are all the same in some certain fundamental ways, and women are all the same in some certain fundamental ways as well. But that needs to be underlined a lot more than everyone is custom, in my opinion. Because it's crucial to understand that everyone is the same, pretty much, but I also agree that we're all a little bit different. And how are we different? We're basically different in the sense of our journey in life. We're at a different place on this journey, but everyone is having a journey. Everyone is starting from A, which is basically birth, and then that spot of A is dependent upon their parents and what happened to them. And then they progress throughout their lives on this journey, and then they move towards, hopefully, getting to the place where they enjoy life. Every single second of it, everything's absolutely amazing. And everyone is basically on different parts of their journey towards this picture. A lot of people don't get it in this life. That's just how it is. But we're all on that journey. So anyway, keep going.
Coming to life thinking this, because if you can do this one thing right here, you can now loop me to my next method. And my next method of the preface is you have to actually take responsibility first. If things went wrong in the past with dating and with women, just tell yourself it's your fault. Even if it wasn't your fault, just say, hey, it's my fault.
Powerful. Absolutely amazing. Powerful, Casey. This is awesome. Because this, like I said before, is how we change the world. This is how men learn how to attain power, how to get everything in life that they desire, even without destroying other people on the way to getting there. Okay? If me as a man and all the other men that watch this video and all of the other men that I coach on Men of High Value channel take full ownership, extreme ownership and responsibility for their lives, that everything that happens to them and also to the people around them, that's key, is their responsibility, their fault, which means that they can do something about it. Remember this, because we're going to close the video with him talking about it a little bit different way than I'm talking about it. I'm saying that men have the capacity to create any environment that they desire over time, which means that they're responsible for everything that happens to them in their lives, but also responsible for everything that happens to everyone else in this world. Explosive. And the reason why is because if they're not personally responsible, they can't change it. They can't do anything about it. Now, obviously, what's happened in the past has happened in the past, but it's still my personal responsibility, and as all the other men, also their personal responsibility. If everyone does that, we're moving towards creating heaven on earth. Utopia, whatever you want to call it. Life becomes amazing once men become men. And what determines a man from being a boy is him taking full ownership and responsibility over everything in his life. Let's move on.
I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to do a better job leading next time. I'm going to hold masculine frame better. I'm going to improve my body so I look like a man who can protect. I'm going to improve my finances so it looks like I have provisioning power. I'm going to improve my charisma so I can flirt with her and keep her feminine. Like, just tell yourself you're going to do better. How about that? If you didn't do good the first time, just do better. This is going to save your ass time and time again in more ways in life than just women. Mark
my words, fellas. Okay, very quickly here, I didn't mention this in the beginning, I'm completely against men failing forward in the dating scene. Okay? I teach men to fail forward in every single aspect of their lives, but I tell them to stay voluntary celibate. Crucial. I believe that men are taking a massive detour by following Casey Zander's advice in terms of dating women right now. Most probably, most guys that watch his videos are not ready to date women, not ready to take the full responsibility for everything that happens in her environment. And this is obviously different from what he's talking about, but I want you guys to understand that this is my mindset. This is my frame of mind, because he says basically, you know, do better next time with the next girl. Why should there be a next girl? Ever. There should never be a next girl. Once you commit to a girl, you stick with her for life. Why? Because you understand female nature. You understand that you're screwing her over if you, as a man, leave or she leaves you. Right? So as a man, if you're taking full responsibility, that means that you live voluntary celibate. Or voluntary celibacy until you're ready to commit and stick to her and retain her the right way, the way that he explains to retain women. That he's fantastic when it comes to that, but I would highly advise to not involve women. And this is for you guys as well, as women watching this channel. Well, but if all men go voluntary celibate, then who am I going to be with? Wouldn't it be amazing if both genders actually prepared themselves a lot better than what they're doing today for family living? Because it's family living that's going to create fulfillment in the long run. Right? And I'm going to explain more about the structure and concept at the end, but let's keep going.
Next, focus on what you can control. If you're 5'3", well, so be it. You're 5'3". You can't control that. And while that might be a hinder to some women, guess what? There's some women that aren't going to care because you make up for it in other aspects. Maybe you make up for it in your muscle mass. Maybe you make up for it and you have a strong character, a strong demeanor. Like, focus on what you can control. Okay, every man can control their faith and their belief, their spirituality. Every single man can control how much muscle they desire to put on their body. Every man can control their work ethic, and every man can control their finances, which means you can level up. You can level up time and time again, but don't be naive. Don't be naive and don't think that I'm going to beat around the bush and act like all women are princesses, because they're not.
Okay, now we're getting into some interesting things. But yes, I agree with him that men should focus on what they can control. What I was going to say about personal responsibility, just to finish that off, men need to learn to prioritize and focus. Focus, follow one course until successful. This is why I tell them not to date women, because they need to get themselves right first. They need to get their finances in order. They need to get their bodies in order. Hey, why not? And they need to get their thoughts in order. Thinking, emotions, and behavior. They need to be able to control themselves. Focus on what you can control. Well, guess what? Number one is you need to control yourself, right? As a man. Once he's able to control himself and he's able to lead others, okay, not women, not kids. I have 5 phases of leadership. 1, allow yourself to be led. That's what men need to do. Number 2, they need to lead themselves, control themselves. Number 3, they need to lead others. And when I say lead others, I'm talking about employees. I'm talking about building a business. Before they build the business, they should not be entertaining the thought of having women in their lives. Ridiculous. Because they're going to screw up. They're going to fail. And we don't want men to fail forward with women. Why? Because it increases women's partner counts and it increases women's misery. Okay? Partner count, misery. It's the same thing. So, let's keep going.
What is the number one truth that most women lie about? Well, I'm going to tell you. When it comes to hypergamy, this is what happens. She wants the biggest, baddest, and best bang for her buck that she can get. What her genes are entitled to, or what she thinks her genes are entitled to, she's going to go after. And once she's had a man in the past that fits her criteria of a standard, she typically will never settle for anything less than that.
Okay, this is cool. This is what I spoke about in the last video. If you haven't gone and watch it after this video. It's called Pain of Comparison. Okay, I should put up a link for that. But if you watch that, I explain specifically, just like he's explaining right now, of how that works in terms of women sleeping around, having a guy. A standard is set the moment she sleeps with a guy and he has certain strengths that she likes. Well, suddenly the next guy needs to have that type of standard or that types of strength, you know, the same amount of strength or stronger strength than this guy, because that she doesn't want to ever go back. Okay, this is how women function. Once they have something, to lose it is unacceptable. They always want to be progressing towards a direction. So towards the, you know, ultimate joy, bliss, and happiness. I mean, that's good, right? This is hypergamy in simple terms. But let's keep on going what he's saying about female nature.
Because that's the man who left a good impression on her, and she definitely views that as a standard. Now, what is the number one lie? The number one lie is this. If a woman tells you, hey, I don't have any other options, this is typically a big red flag, and this is why. A woman today will never need one specific man. And
I don't have any other options. I'm trying to understand what he means. Is she talking to him? Like saying, like the woman saying to the man, you don't have any other options. Is that what he's saying in the video? Because I to be honest with you, I kind of don't get what he's actually talking about. Comment down below if you know what he's talking about. Who's saying I don't have any options? Because if she's talking about the man having no other options than her, then I can begin to understand a little bit more about the video. But let's keep going and see what he says.
Let's take a good inside look at the reasons why. Here's why she will never need another man. It takes one picture on Instagram to get attention.
Oh, okay. So now I get it. So she says, I don't need another man, meaning I don't need a man. Oh my gosh, anyway. She can find another guy anywhere, yes.
And validation. Not only that, she can go out and she can get any job and she can go provide for herself. Women are oftentimes outperforming men in the marketplace today even, which means that men are going to have to improve multiple aspects of their life to actually win when it comes to dating. And women, take ownership. Take responsibility. This is going to get you somewhere in life when you start to do this. Now, she will never need you, which means you need a new skill set. And the skill...
So she's saying basically, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. So then maybe that's the lie. Because women do need men in many ways. Wow. Women need men a lot more than men need women. And then women will say, oh no, that's not true, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? This is only true if men actually stop masturbating and stop ejaculating. Because the moment that men stop doing that, suddenly they're not needy anymore. It seems to women that men need women more than women need men. But in actuality, if you're talking about men instead of boys, that's not the case. Because, yes, women can provide for themselves. Great. And women can also be protected by the government, somewhat. But other than that, how are they going to be able to fulfill the measure of their creation? How are they going to be happy and fired up outside their brains throughout their entire lives if they're not in love? They need a man in order to be in love and to stay in love. And guess what? One of the biggest emotions that women desire in their lives, and you know it, is to be in love. There is nothing like it. This is what fuels happiness, abundance, excitement, motivation, capacity, etc., etc. If a woman doesn't have that, life is kind of meaningless. There's no point to what she's doing. And she'll try to fill the void with other things, but she needs a man to fall in love with and to stay in love with that man. Okay, so now I know what he's talking about. So, but basically he keeps on going now, talking about how men need to get to a point where women do desire them.
Skill set is this: you have to actually learn how to make her want you. There's a very big difference. Just because she'll never need you doesn't mean that you can't work the system the right way and oil up the machine within yourself to actually make her genuinely want you. And since she doesn't need you, this means you have to learn how to make her want you even more than she did before. How do you do this? It's very simple. It's a two-step process. Number one, you have to learn how to stimulate her emotions. Number two, you have to do this while being full stack.
Let's go back for a second.
Work the system to get you somewhere in life when you start to do this. Now, she will never need you, which means you need a new skill set. And the skill set is this: you have to actually learn how to make her want you. There's a very big difference.
Okay, just quickly here, because this is very easy from a male standpoint in the beginning phase of a relationship. This is a man who is trying to get a girlfriend. The moment he tries to get a girlfriend and actually actively tries, like literally talks to women, because there's a lot of guys that don't even want to talk to women at all. But the moment a guy begins to talk to women and he begins to have less and less fear and apprehension when it comes to women, eventually he becomes quite comfortable talking to a woman. The moment he's comfortable talking to a woman, she will like that. She will notice that he's confident because he's more confident than her, right? It's kind of like a spider. A spider is it frightens people, right? And people have like phobias towards spiders. Well, guess what? The spider's more scared than you are, right? And it's the exact same way with this. Women get freaked out when men approach them, depending upon obviously what kind of man it is. Maybe the woman wants him to approach, but most of the time, anytime a man walks up to a woman, the woman is like, whoa, I'm wondering if this good, is this bad? And they're thinking and their heart's pounding, and like, because it doesn't happen all of the time to most women, right? So when a man begins to approach women and he does it again and again and again and again, eventually it will become less anxious on his side. This is a bad thing when we have bad guys going out there and doing this. Why? Because they become extremely good at approaching. And then they get the girl and then they screw her over because they suck at retaining women. And why? Because they blame. And this is one of the interesting things that Casey is talking about, which is basically don't blame, right? Take responsibility. However, what he's talking about right now is monogamy. He's talking about how you need to get a woman to want you, which is great in the beginning of a relationship. And a woman will want you if you are able to stimulate her emotions and you are full stack, meaning you're the best possible man that you can be. Oh, it didn't work out with that girl? Well, it can work out with the next one. This is monogamy, okay? He's talking about monogamy. He's not mentioning anything about anything else here. What's going to happen over time as they enter into a long-term relationship? What happens around 3 months? Right? Very often you got the 3-month syndrome. Sometimes the relationship lasts longer, but that's because they've already had their first fights and they've managed to get through it and they're still together maybe past 3 months if they're lucky. And once they've gone through further on in the relationship, what happens every single time? The woman loses attraction to her man, doesn't she? You know it, you've tried it, you've seen it, you've experienced it. And every man knows this too. He's like, she's not, it's not the same as in the beginning. So the in-love emotions fade away. So it's easy to say that you need to do the things that will cause a woman to want you, like compared to needing you. Because a woman doesn't need you. Well, is he trying to like work hypergamy or something? Because he's doing a great job. He's helping tons of guys. But in general, this won't work for a long-term relationship in terms of having her stay in love forever. That's the goal. Not just get her and then serial monogamy. Oh, it didn't work out and now I'm going to try with the next one. No, we need her to stick, to stay, to retain her because we're amazing. Right? So I agree with the full stack stuff, but there's more that's needed. Keep watching till the end. Make sure you subscribe and like this video.
Just because she'll never need you doesn't mean that you can't work the system the right way and oil up the machine within yourself to actually make her genuinely want you. And since she doesn't need you, this means you have to learn how to make her want you even more than she did before.
Also have to remember that men are competing. Men are competing. Women are also in the workforce, which means that they meet men to compare her man with. Okay? And women have time and opportunity and cell phones these days to communicate with men and become emotionally attached with other men while they have a boyfriend. Right? They're completely different times we're living in today. So hypergamy is very prevalent, or the effects of hypergamy is extremely prevalent in today's society, which, right, is good, but it's also bad. It's bad if you don't know how it works. It's bad if for men, if they don't understand how to create the right environment for women to actually, for that to work. So it's very interesting because it's all, there's competition. There's competition among men. No matter how good a guy improves himself, there can always be another man that comes along, and the question is, will she become emotionally attached to that better man? If there's a better man, but she's not emotionally attached to him, there's not really a big problem. Because that, if you look at how men and women cheat, it's different. Men cheat basically because they feel, you know, they're tempted and things are not working out properly with the with the long-term relationship that they have, and then they sometimes they cheat, right? But women, but they don't do this over a long period of time, developing an emotional connection with the woman very often. It's kind of like it's spur of the moment very often. And then they might begin the emotional attachment, blah, blah, blah. But women, they cheat according to emotional connection with that better man, which means that she begins to confide in that guy. She begins to talk to that guy. She begins to express her emotions to that guy, and he knows how to receive her, which her guy might not be able to, right? Or at least not in the way that the other guy is doing it. So I'm just explaining to you guys that no matter how much a man levels up in monogamy, hypergamy will still do its job. And it needs to be kept in check somehow. And I'll explain at the end of the video.
How do you do this? It's very simple. It's a two-step process. Number one, you have to learn how to stimulate her emotions. Number two, you have to do this while being full stack. Because even if you're great at stimulating her emotions and giving her this roller coaster of excitement right here, if you're not full stack putting in the work, she's going to look at you as a man that does not take responsibility. If you're a man that does not take responsibility, this is what happens. You blame everybody else. You're probably more prone to start fights and petty arguments with women, which means she can move you off center emotionally. Not only that, it shows you're not in control of your own life. And what type of leader is that? Women want a leader.
Absolutely, 100%, 110%, okay? The moment the man is moved by her in the sense of he's not grounded, and she manages to get him to become emotional and all over the place, he's gone. Like, that's difficult to come back from, but it happens all of the time, right? It's just that women actually stay with guys for a long period of time because they haven't found a better man to leave towards yet. But if a man consistently is off balance and emotionally all over the place, the woman will eventually leave, and she will leave fast if there's a better guy that comes along, or even maybe a same type of guy. Sometimes women leave even though they don't have any other better guy, simply because the man that they're with absolutely horrifically sucks in terms of treating her, or in terms of in many ways turning her on, actually. If he manages to keep turning her on without doing the stupid things that massively turn her off, then she's gonna stick. But also something that he mentioned about stimulating her emotions. Did you notice the roller coaster there? Is that something that you women like? Do you want massive emotional roller coasters in a relationship? Because for me, that sounds too much like hard work. That sounds too much like life was not designed to be a roller coaster. Yes, it was designed to have amazing experiences of joy and happiness at the top there, and maybe small roller coaster between 8, 9, and 10 in terms of joy and happiness. But not roller coasters of 10, and then the guy doesn't text you for 3 days because he's trying to stimulate your emotions, and then you're a 3, and then you like, do you understand what I mean? Like, there shouldn't be any roller coasters in heaven, if that makes sense. There's going to be spikes of joy and pleasure, of course, but not massive roller coasters. That I don't like that. But let's see what he says about stimulating emotions.
So instead of bitching about what you think women want, why don't you just do the things that are actually proven to become attractive? So when you stimulate her emotions, here's the one problem where most guys go super wrong in this aspect. She has an emotional bank. Let's write bank right here. And this whole emotional bank is a pie chart, and this pie chart needs to be filled. However, when men hear the word stimulate emotions...
Hold on a second. This is good stuff. This very simply explains what I say on this channel about fulfilling women's emotional needs. Right? He's calling it a bank and a pie chart. Fantastic allegory. Because it needs to be filled at all times and all places, if possible. Now, obviously, this does not happen, right, at all, in many ways. She gets some small fills in there, but there's always a massive gap and a void in her emotional bank. That's our goal as men, to figure out how to fulfill every single need for women. But let's keep going. He talks about some interesting things.
Men typically are logical, and they only know how to do this in one way, shape, and form. And I'm going to put an L right here for love. They stimulate the pie chart right here of emotional love and sympathy and being there for her. But here's where this really burns them.
So I think this one's interesting because this sounds feminine. Like, do you notice how feminine that is? Like, I speak about on my channel that the polarity is crucial. Okay, masculinity, femininity, and a woman, like, her femininity needs femininity. Okay, women need other women. So her femininity needs femininity, which means that if you're the one that spends if a man is the one who spends the most time with the woman, then he will try to give her feminine needs. Like, he will try to meet her feminine needs. But that turns out very wrong, because him doing that might fill her feminine need, but then she'll have a masculine need elsewhere. That's bad. Like, do you see how bad that is? It's like, because a man who's feminine basically is chopping off his masculine legs from under him. Like, that's stupid. No offense to any men, but that's just like, but that's ignorance. It's not stupidity, it's ignorance. Him not knowing that the more feminine he becomes, which will happen when he's with the woman a lot of the time, then he's not going to be masculine anymore, and there's going to be problems. So yeah, the more feminine a man is around a woman, the faster she's going to break up. The faster she's going to break up. A woman needs a leader. Masculinity is leadership. Femininity is following, which means that her emotions is in control. Not the man, her emotions. And this will always be her master. I've mentioned this on my Instagram, where it says that femininity has only one master, and it's emotion. And it's not men. Women don't have men as their masters. Their master is emotion. Final. That's it. Now, masculinity, however, they learn to master emotion. So if they learn to master emotion, then they're able to create the correct environment for women to be absolutely emotionally fulfilled. Do you see the difference? It's not that the man is controlling her. The man is controlling himself and the environment where the woman is so that emotion can lead her the right way, if that makes sense. So yeah, basically just telling you guys that he's explaining about femininity. The more feminine a man is, the more she's going to be turned off, because that's not what turns her on. That's not what fuels her juices. And she needs to be with someone that fuels her juices, okay? Obsession equals loyalty. And the more feminine a man is, the less obsessed about him she's going to be.
If this is the only type of emotion you know how to give, you're now categorized as a nice guy who's predictable and boring. This is going to leave you heartbroken, which means some days she's going to want to be sad, and some days she's going to want to cry, and some days she's going to want to be happy, and some
sad and cry are the same things, but yes, you're right.
Some days she's just going to want you to be that rock in her life that she needs. And
I meant crying is sad. That's what I said, right? Yeah.
And some days she's going to be pissed off. And you know what? It is not your job to try to control this so she's always happy and in love. It's your...
That's correct. It's not his job to control her and her emotions. That doesn't work. But it's his job to understand what is needed when she's in each of those different parts of the chart. Do you understand what I mean? Like, he needs to know female nature so well that when she is in this condition, she needs this. When she is in this condition, she needs this. Right? Because if he knows what she needs at any given time, he's not controlling her at all. He just knows what the needs are. And he knows how to fulfill them. That's the difference. So it's not controlling women, and it's not blaming her either at all. It's understanding what she needs at any given time.
It's your job to just understand how to stimulate all of these. And if you can learn to do this, what's going to happen is she now sees that she can't control you. You see, you're not constantly in fight or flight mode scarcity trying to be the man that keeps her in love. You now accept women that they need to go through this pie chart of emotions to feel anything. There's some days she's not going to want to have anything to do with you, potentially. If that shows that, hey, that doesn't matter to me and I'm not going to be moved off center through that, well, her hypergamy really has no effect on you. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you're still going to be grinding. At the end of the day, you're still taking responsibility. At the end of the day, you're still leveling up your life, which is all that matters. And there's lots of women who are curvy. There's lots of women with nice booties. There's lots of women with pretty smiles, which means if you're doing the work, you're not going to be limited on options.
Boom. I don't like this. Again, Casey's awesome. He's talking to guys, and guys are going out there, meeting women, and sleeping around. But this is bad. That he's talking about options in this way. Because he's basically saying that if a woman misbehaves, or if you can't control, like, if she's not controlling herself. Isn't this so interesting that he speaks about men taking massive responsibility and we're not going to blame women at all? And now he's basically massively blaming them, saying that they're going to have issues. And when they have issues, then, you know, at some point in time, at least you're not going to be moved by it. And so you're not going to care, basically. That's what he's saying. You don't care about when she has to go through all of these emotions. So you're not going to be moved. Good on you. Great. So now you can move on if she doesn't appreciate you for do you see what I'm saying here? Like, I'm just trying to help you guys understand that blaming women ever is wrong. Because who created the environment where she's sad, where she's unhappy, where she's crying, where she's this, that, and the other? The fact is, yes, it might be life. Yes, it might be circumstances. Yes, it might be the universe creating her this specific way so that she has the 28-day cycle, reproductive cycle. However, if a man understood what her emotional needs are at any given moment, and he's able to fulfill those emotional needs at any given time, there is no hypergamy. Like, hypergamy is there, but she's emotionally fulfilled. So, which means that she's with the highest value guy that she can possibly be with, if that makes sense. He's talking about that you have options, that men have options. No, because what basically that means, I wish I had the chart here. I have a chart with the confidence commitment. It's the men of high value chart, which basically explains that players, they're confident but not committed. Which basically means that the moment a guy has options, meaning that he leaves the option on the table that I could leave this woman, and I don't really care if she leaves me, that means that he's not committed, but he's confident because he's not moved by her emotional roller coaster, right? But then you have the other side of this matrix that I have, which is confident and committed. Meaning, and this is a problem because of attraction, because the moment a man becomes committed, that means that he has no options, right? If he's committed to her, commitment, like literally he would rather die than be with someone else, okay? Taking it to the extreme now, but do you understand? Like, commitment. It's cutting off all other options, right? Boom, commitment and confidence. How do you get that? Okay, so now I'm getting close to explaining what we talk about on this channel. Hold on.
So get off Snapchat, get off Tinder, stop doing all these things that are making you weak. And if you've liked this video, I want you to hit the like button. I also want to announce.
And that he finishes. Okay, so basically what I want for you guys to understand is that monogamy is good, but it has so many pitfalls because of one thing: hypergamy. That's exactly why monogamy doesn't work very well. Because women will always be blamed by the man. The man, yes, he can say that he wants to take on all of the blame in the relationship, but there's a problem. Because the moment a man takes all of the blame, which we want him to do, because it is his fault, isn't it? Right? The moment he does that, he's failed. He's admitting failure. Which basically means that when a man fails, does he have power or is he powerless? He's powerless, which means that you will look down on him. Look down. Is that a turn off or a turn on? It's a turn off. Meaning, at any given time, you want to look up to your man always. You want to make sure that you're turned on, not off, right? If he's failing forward with you and then is able to dump you at any given time, ridiculous. A system that doesn't work is monogamy. So, what am I saying now? Am I saying that polyamory is better? No, it's worse than monogamy. What is polyamory? It's basically sleeping around and having basically no commitment and just love everyone and sleep around, blah, blah, blah. You can't build up society that way. Why? Because of the next generation, but also the way that women are designed. Women weren't designed to sleep around with many men because they have a brain that's basically wired towards one obsession at a time. Okay? So if we know that, then we need to understand how 3 in love works. What is 3 in love? This is what we teach on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. 3 in love is 1 man, 3 women. We fix or we create an amazing environment where hypergamy actually is a fantastic thing. Forever. Okay? And the way that it's fantastic is because now when she's with 2 other women, they're harmoniously living together. Why are they doing that? Because the man takes all of the blame. Everything that is happening that's a bit off or that's wrong or that there's a small annoyance or fights in the home, whatever, whose fault is it? Always the man. It's the man's fault. Women need other women. Okay? Which means that they don't need the man's femininity very much. He can meet them where they're at when he comes home, right? But he'll still have a massive polarity. He'll still also have massive amounts of power. Yes, there will be inequality in the relationship, but that's necessary for obsession and loyalty to take place. It's necessary in order for us to neutralize hypergamy and use it for our benefit. So that men can be the most powerful woman, most powerful man in her environment. And as long as that remains the case, and this happens daily, by the way, because she's with her other women, right? Every single day, she's going to hear one of them or two of them or herself talk about her man. The moment she mentions the name or him or whatever, all the others now remember, oh yeah, that man, my man, our man. That's edification. It lifts him up. It elevates him. So when he makes mistakes, when he's failing forward in learning about female nature, growing in power himself, and establishing himself as a true man, the women won't leave him. Okay? Is it possible that they leave him because there's a better man out there who basically flirts with all three of them? Do you know how difficult it is for one man to develop emotional connection with three women that are connected to another man that's amazing? Do you know how hard that is? It's extremely difficult for a man to create massive emotional connection that causes her to cheat. If there are three women, they guard each other because they want to make sure that their family is protected. It protects from cheating pretty much all of the time, as long as they're unified, and they become unified by the man taking full blame and full responsibility for everything that happens. This is the system. It's beautiful. It works. And you get to learn about it on this channel. This is the Women of High Value channel. You guys are absolutely awesome. Let's see if there's any comments. Thanks for the video. You are absolutely welcome. I will see you guys in the next one.